We want to build on that dream that Jack had to connect the progressives of Quebec with those across Canada and build a better future together.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh made his pitch to Quebec voters, highlighting the work of former NDP leader Jack Layton. He made those remarks this morning in Hudson, Quebec, later holding a rally over in Montreal. The CBC's Hannah Thibodeau is traveling with the campaign this week. Hannah?
Hey Vashi, today is NDP leader Jagmeet Singh's last visit to Quebec in this election, and it was symbolic. He was in Hudson, Jack Layton's hometown, and visited this park named in honor of him and his wife Olivia Chow.
The legacy of Jack Layton is being carried out by a wonderful, courageous, compassionate leader, my good friend Jagmeet Singh.
Singh is hoping to draw on Layton's legacy in the province. Remember, in 2011, the NDP won 59 of the 78 seats. And Singh says the NDP are the only progressive choice here. He feels things are starting to turn in his favor. Remember, at the start of the election, pollsters were suggesting that the party's 14 seats could potentially be wiped out. But now it looks like they will keep a handful in the province. Much of the reason for that could be attributed to how Singh has handled issues like the images of Liberal leader Justin Trudeau in black and brown face, and the comment of a man suggesting Singh should cut off his turban in a popular Montreal market. Singh is convinced that people are starting to see beyond his turban.
I certainly believe things have changed throughout the campaign. I think as I've been able to talk about my values, it's gone beyond just the appearances. And people are like, you know what? He actually does share our values. And I'm proud of that because campaigns should matter. And it does matter. And I've seen the change. Quebecers are saying, you know what? This is a guy that sounds just like us. He talks like us. His French isn't that bad.
So as people begin to open up to Singh, he hopes to see growth like that of Jack Layton. Layton distinguished himself in a minority government, and it took him 7 years as leader before the Orange Wave happened. And that propelled them, of course, into official opposition status. Singh says he hopes to eventually see that same type of growth as Quebecers see beyond the turban and hear his ideas, Vashi.
Thanks, Hannah. The CBC's Hannah Thibodeau reporting on the NDP's campaign. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer wrapped up a 24-hour tour of Quebec this morning before hopping over to Battleground, Ontario.
Now, Canadians expect accountability from their leaders, and that's what I will deliver.
Speaking at an arena, Scheer laid out his plan to implement new penalties for politicians who violate ethics rules. He began his campaign day in Saint-Jérôme, Quebec, then made those remarks over in Essex, Ontario. Later, he's speaking in Ancaster. The CBC's Katie Simpson is covering Scheer's campaign. Katie?
The crowd stole the show today, Vashi, at Andrew Scheer's main event. Hundreds of people lined up in an arena to get a selfie and have the chance to hear the Conservative leader speak. Not only was the crowd pretty big for a mid-workday event, it was hugely enthusiastic.
Trudeau's gotta go!
Though, with that excitement, there were some hecklers. A couple of reporters were booed by the crowd, forcing the former House Speaker to call for order.
How does it feel that you have to rely on a vote split just to form government?
I can tell you, as I said, order.
He also told another heckler to keep it civil after someone shouted that Liberal leader Justin Trudeau is half Cuban.
Trudeau's half Cuban.
Let's keep it civil. Let's keep it on issues. Let's not go there.
Scheer is campaigning in a part of the country where traditionally the Conservatives have not won seats, and he was clearly excited by all of the enthusiasm.
I can tell you it feels great to travel to parts of this country where we have not traditionally won, and to feel the momentum and to feel the opportunity that is there. We are going to surprise Canadians all over this country.
Scheer announced today a Conservative government would impose stiff new penalties on politicians who break ethics rules, including fines of up to $20,000. Of course, Scheer mentioned Liberal leader Justin Trudeau's ethics violations, which played very well with that energetic partisan crowd. Vashi.
Thanks, Katie. The CBC's Katie Simpson reporting on the Conservative campaign. As we mentioned, Andrew Scheer was in Quebec this morning and yesterday making his pitch to voters. Today, Bloc Québécois leader Yves-François Blanchet cast doubt on whether Quebecers will listen to Scheer's message.
He behaves like an evicted lover who's trying to convince that he's still in love.
Did you like his message?
I didn't fall in love.
Support for the Bloc, of course, has been rising in Quebec over the last few weeks. Blanchet was campaigning today in La Prairie, Quebec, one of the ridings Scheer visited yesterday. Liberal leader Justin Trudeau was actually campaigning in Blanchet's riding today. Follow the dots, part of a multi-stop blitz in the province.
The focus of the Bloc is to stand up for Quebec against the federal government. But the federal government agrees with Quebecers on the need to fight climate change, on the need to fight poverty and lift people out of poverty.
Trudeau urged Quebecers to vote Liberal over the Bloc, as you can hear, and the NDP. That was this morning in Montreal's Botanical Garden. He also made stops in Greenfield Park, Chambly, Drummondville, and ended the day in Sherbrooke. The CBC's Salima Shivji is covering the Liberal campaign. Salima?
Hey, Vashi. Well, Justin Trudeau's Liberals know how vital Quebec is to them right now at this stage in campaign, and it shows in everything they're doing as they're shifting their message as the ground shifts here in Quebec, with the Bloc Québécois rising as the preferred option among Francophone voters. Justin Trudeau really started this campaign thinking that he could easily go on the offensive here in Quebec and pick up some of those vulnerable NDP seats. Now, he is still campaigning in NDP-held ridings today, but because of the rise of the Bloc, his strategy has had to shift. You know, some of his key high-profile Liberal candidates are in a fight to hold on to their seats. So we saw Justin Trudeau today surrounding himself with most of his Quebec team as he tried to focus on the issues that he thinks really resonate here in Quebec. You know, the fight for climate change, what he'll do for seniors with Quebec's aging population, really focusing on that and taking aim at the Bloc, saying the Bloc Québécois does not have the monopoly on Quebec pride. Justin Trudeau also focused very much on the fact that a vote for the Liberal Party, he says, is the only way to counter Conservative cuts. And he did say for the first time in French, he said it twice, that Canadians could wake up the morning after the election with a Conservative government. He told reporters that saying that does not admit defeat.
Every election is a choice, and I'm not taking any of Canadians' votes for granted. The choice we're facing here in Quebec and right across the country is very clear. We need a progressive government, not a progressive opposition.
Now, another coup for Justin Trudeau, an endorsement from former U.S. President Barack Obama. The Liberals clearly pretty happy about that and hoping that'll give them a bump, especially because that tweet from Obama actually used that same word, progressive, that Justin Trudeau has been repeating over and over again. Expect to hear that word a lot more tomorrow. Trudeau is devoting 2 full days to campaigning here in Quebec in this last stretch, proving just how important this province is to his party. Vashi?
Thanks, Salima. The CBC's Salima Shivji covering the Liberal campaign for us. Green Party leader Elizabeth May continued her campaign in BC today, where she started to lay out her conditions for supporting a party in a minority situation.
There'd be a lot of things I'd want to talk about with any group of parties, including changing our electoral system, including, of course, climate action, but also including let's have an inquiry into the SNC-Lavalin affair. There is unfinished business that requires a nonpartisan approach so that Canadians get better government. May
is predicting a minority result, but she says she's not willing to negotiate any deals prior to the election. She made those comments today while in Victoria. Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.